number 5. Now this one's actually going to expand on some of the things that I started to talk about in tip number 4, because really building that initial sort of connection, or starting that connection and then building on it, is one of the most critical parts. So I've got quite a bit to say about this part of the process. And that is, don't be too desperate up front. So don't, when you meet someone, launch straight into the fact that you're looking for a job or a boss, as the case may be. Okay, let the conversation develop naturally for a bit. Okay, if you go straight into the fact that you want a job, it becomes very clear to someone that you're out to get something. And even if that might be your underlying motive, what I'm saying is start by giving. Okay, start by adding value and contributing to the conversation. You don't have to give your entire life story, so don't go down that path. Let the other person do the talking. Quite often people will enjoy talking about their own work or their own job, or better still, break out of the work conversation altogether and ask what someone likes doing when they're not working. Okay, I hate it that one of the first questions we ask is, what do you do for a living? Okay, I think we shouldn't be, it doesn't matter how passionate you are about your job, we shouldn't be defined by how we make money or how we survive or what we do for work. People are much more, three-dimensional than that. Okay, so ask a question like that. It's a question that'll take someone a little bit by surprise sometimes, but if you've started speaking to someone, and don't do that as your first question either, but if you've started speaking with someone, don't make it all about work. Let that, invest in getting to know someone outside of that. Okay, it may be that it never even comes up on that first meeting that you're looking for a job, or it comes up right at the end. But add value to the conversation, build that rapport and that connection with someone, and that's what's going to lead to you creating a quality connection. And that person's going to remember you, because they're not just going to go, that person was just hitting me up for a job. You go, that person was actually quite interesting. Okay, so don't rabbit on about yourself the whole time. Better for them to ask you questions, for them to wish that you'd shut the hell up. Okay, so don't be too desperate. Contribute to the conversation and leave the mercenary stuff to later. Okay, and I'll get to this on another tip, but of course you are going to get to a point in the conversation where you will say at the end, hey, by the way, can I get in contact sometime? You can do the mercenary stuff then. Okay, you don't have to do it all now. Now, I could argue that you might never get a chance to do it again, so maybe it's nice to slot it in at the end, but certainly don't slot it in at the beginning, if that makes sense. Okay, it's like wooing anybody. If you go and meet someone of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever, if you go and meet someone where you've got romantic inclinations, you don't just go up to them and say, will you marry me? Okay, that would be weird and inappropriate. In most cases. In some countries, I think okay, but for most people, slightly odd. So you don't go up to someone and say, by the way, I'm really looking for a job. By the way, I'm really looking for a wife or a husband. Okay, that's not how it works. Okay, there's some sort of steps you go through before you get to that stage. So think of it a bit like that and go through those steps. And then when you hit them with the proposal, you will kind of, it'll be a little bit more appropriate, hopefully. Doesn't mean they'll say yes, but at least you've got to a point where you can start to ask those sorts of questions. I hope that makes sense. That one was a little bit all over the place, but yeah, don't be desperate, add value, don't tell them your life story. Unless it's a really good life story and you've maybe written a book about it, maybe they'd be really interested in it. That was number 5.